Hi, my name is Gil Robertson, president of the African American Film Critics Association. Today, we are thrilled to be talking to the exciting team responsible for the hit TV show Crossover. We're going to introduce you to the AAFCA members who are on the call today, starting with our host facilitator, KB in Houston, Dana Abercrombie in New York, New York, Reggie Pounder in Chicago, and Carolyn Hines in Toronto. I'm going to let you guys do what you do so well, and I will see you on the other side.
Dribble, fake, shoot, miss. Dribble, fake, shoot, miss.
Dribble, fake, shoot, miss. Dribble, fake, shoot.
Ball was our life. My brother and I always dreamt of becoming the greatest of all time.
Bro, Dad is a baller with a championship ring. That's inspirational enough.
Pro basketball at the table. I'm about GPA, not NBA.
We were unstoppable. Or so we thought.
Dad, you all right?
Yo, somebody call 911. Is Dad gonna be okay?
I'm scared.
We are not giving up. They need their father. And I need my husband to be here for me.
Guess what doesn't break us only makes us stronger.
You know how high the stakes are? We clinched a spot at the city championship.
I'm focused on what matters and you're not.
You are wild. Are you jealous?
Y'all are twins, but you can have different dreams.
We have been planning our future since we were 5. He can't just up and change his mind. Life ain't all about ball. So what is it about?
I know you're going through a lot right now. You are not alone.
You've been waiting for the championship since you started middle school.
Plans change.
Nothing changes. You don't run the world. Maybe I do.
It must be nice for your son to be so protected because his mother is the principal.
If you don't keep that ego in check, you're gonna lose yourself.
We go hard, just like we always have.
No matter what, you're a net tied together.
So let's rock this! We got this! Let's rock this! We got this! Let's rock this!
The Crossover, new original series, streaming April 5th on Disney+.
Hi, my name is Reggie Ponder, the real critic out of Chicago, and my question is to all of you. This feels like a love letter to Black love. How did you each feel bringing that love to the screen? When you look at a husband and wife, brother to brother, friend to friend, it really feels like a love letter to Black love. And I guess I'll start with you, Derek.
Oh, shoot. I thought Kwame was going to remix this. I think you said it. Kwame framed it. He set us up. He created the world. And obviously, there's a team of producers and writers that helped convert that from the page to the stage. But for me, for Chuck, I love the opportunity to help navigate and be a part of these two young men, two characters on screen, and also I love the layer of being a present husband, and because a lot of times you don't see that, you definitely don't hear it. So I think the love is written all over, and then taking Kwame's description that it was a love letter to his dad, but he and the rest of the cast is going to beautifully speak to that.
Sabrina?
Yes. What was the question again?
The question was, this seems
Why
like
you love Chuck the way you do.
Oh, you can say that too.
Had kids.
No, the question was, it really seems like a love letter to Black love, and I wanted you to speak to how it felt bringing that love, that kind of love to the screen.
Yes. I felt phenomenal about being a part of a story that showcases Black love in the way that it does. It's one of the things that made me excited about being a part of the project. I remember one of the first questions for the behind the scenes was, what are you most excited about? And I stated brown skin people on the screen showcasing the love that we showcase. I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited for the world to see it. Not just Black people, but all races, and especially Black people. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I feel like they pretty much covered it, you know. I feel like Black.
Yeah, I agree with everything they just said. I couldn't have said it better myself. I feel like it's very crucial for Black kids growing up to see this type of stuff because, I like to think of myself as an old soul. So when Fuller House was on, I was like, I was looking at it and I loved it. Just for some reason, I just loved it. I love the dynamic of the family and then, the coming of age story. But then I looked at it and I'm like, well, this is dated back. Like, this is, and I'm like, kids have had this to grow up on. And I'm like, but I'm thinking we didn't have that. A lot of it was, if you did have like Black family shows, it was more of a, you could clearly tell the difference in it, the difference in the dynamic and the joy and how they laughed and how they loved and the problems that they faced. And I felt as though that kind of shaped a lot of young minds. That's what it'll do, is shape minds, because I have learned a lot of what I have just off of taking in information from any source I could, right? So of course, if you were to take something away from something like Full House that doesn't really apply to your nature, it's like, well, that's your identity, that's because of what you were exposed to. So I'm really happy that, my child to be able to be like, my dad, can we watch the crossover or the crossover 2? Or, and they'll grow up off of that. That's what they'll be exposed to, the love of a Black family. The fact that both his parents are here, the fact that he has a choice to be smart and a jock at the same time. And that's why I love it.
Great, thank you. And lastly, Kwame.
How to top all that? I don't know if it's possible because they nailed it. That was the vision. I grew up in a house with a mother and a father who argued, who loved each other, a mom who cooked 3 meals a day, was still a principal, got everybody ready for school, a dad who forced me to read the dictionary. I grew up watching my parents hold hands while they watched Saturday Night Live. That was their weekly date, drinking a Mellow Yellow. Like, I grew up with these sort of regular things with regular folks, Sunday dinners, getting an F on my report card and turning it into a B. I shouldn't be telling y'all that. That's too much. But my point is, I grew up in this sort of regular happenings of trying to become from a boy to a young man, of trying to cross over. And I wanted to make sure that this was sort of the inspiration of the story that Derek and Sabrina were gonna embody, and Jalen and Amir were gonna propel forward. So that was my goal. That was my hope.
Wow, thank you, all.
KB here with Through the Lens of Lady KB, and my question is for Derek and Sabrina. So talk a little bit about Black family secrets and how, kind of Chuck protecting his family from his illness, how that really alters and shifts their relationship as husband and wife as the season progresses. And I'll start with you, Sabrina.
Oh, Lord. Family secrets. Do we have any? A couple. A couple. And Chuck's scare brings out a few. brings out a few. I think family secrets are big in any family, but specifically, Black families, like nothing leaves this house, it's kind of like Vegas. What happens in this household stays in this household. I don't particularly find that healthy, Sabrina speaking. So that's something I hope our show is kind of reworking for the audience to see, right? Like it's okay that you have stuff that you're not necessarily proud of. It's what makes you, the things that you go through in life. It's okay. It's okay. And you're going to get through it, and you're going to get through it with support and with family. And I think we showcase that in the show.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. As Sabrina was talking, the word that came to my heart is outlet. I hear more, I don't want to say their name, even though they were on an interview, but I've seen more men of color talking about my therapist. Just having that resource, because for me, Derek, for years, I would hear somebody allude to it, but the first thing that would come in my heart was fear of me going into a therapist's office, and the fear of what will they say. And then the third, how can I share my vulnerability with a stranger? You know what I mean? And so that's a great question. You got my mind wheeling, and I thank you for that. I thank you. So maybe this conversation will come out more in the storyline, to where we'll have people, leaving one episode and taking a pause with their family, and talking about those secrets. Talk about how do you heal, and what's those outlets,
right. Yeah, what are those outlets? And what are the outlets that you can trust? Because as you're talking now, I'm thinking about therapy. There's a real fear there. The fear is not, the fear is real, particularly with Black people. It's real because we have a stigma of being labeled right after that. So it's not just the fear of like, okay, I'm scared to face myself, right? And to face my issues and to tackle these issues. It's also a fear on top of that, especially for parents. How will they label my child? How will they then label me? And how does that affect me moving forward in life, in business, in school? All of those things matter. And so it is very scary to have your child go in the system and maybe become labeled as something that could follow them for the rest of their career or lives, which when you're just trying to get help, right? Like you're just trying to have an ear to talk to. So it is a real fear there. But I would urge people to still push past that fear and find the right therapist. Ask around, try to find the person who has empathy and sympathy for our specific situations in this world, being a Black person.
And let's be clear, the idea of keeping secrets and how prevalent that is in our community, that comes out of a tradition, out of a history of us trying to protect.
That's right.
Trying to protect ourselves.
Right.
Because in many times, if things were let out, it could mean, it could spell tragedy. It could be horrific. Like the consequences could often be brutal. Right. And so we kept secrets as a way of protecting our community. But of course, what we know now is it doesn't serve us. It doesn't serve us. And so I think one of the ideas and ideals around this show is let's get to the root of it. Let's expose it. And then let's sort of offer, up an idea of how we can be different now.
That's good.
Yeah, offer up.
Well, thank you, all of you, for such thoughtful answers and for tackling this on the show. I've really enjoyed it thus far.
Thank you.
Hi, Dana Abercrombie with the Coalition. My question is for Kwame. What I wanted to know is the book that you written originally, it's fantastic. There's a lot of things that it was extended from the book into this now, and what was those important elements that you wanted to bring forth into the screen? Was that always not necessarily the plan, but because you maybe was given a limited amount of pages that you really wish that you could in this now series, that dream being fulfilled?
Yeah, it's a great question. The biggest thing for me, Dana, was the poetry. How do we bring the lyricism, the beauty of language, the rhythm, the rhyme, the metaphor? How do we bring that over onto the screen and do it in a way where it feels organic and it feels cool and it feels fun? And so I think Damani and Kim and all the writers, we figured out how to capture that rhythm. And then Jalen and Amir, they executed it in a way where it feels fun and cool and not just, poetry. Like, I don't even think, Dana, we use the word poetry in the show. I don't know if we ever say it's poetry. And that's one of the things that I was a stickler about in the book, is that I'm never going to mention the word poetry or poem, because, there's a stigma attached to that. The way teachers teach it is so staid and incomprehensible, but I want to do something different. So I'm not sure we even use the word, but when you hear Amir do his thing in episode 1, you know, okay, this is going to be pretty special. When you hear Filthy define a word and do it just sort of matter-of-factly, okay, we're about to enter a show that's unlike hopefully anything else we've seen or heard.
Hi everyone, Caroline Presser. Here's what happened in Caroline Talks podcast. I love this show. And one of the things that I love about this show is that the two main characters are twins, fraternal twins in particular. I'm a fraternal twin. I have a twin sister. And this is honestly the first time ever that I've seen a Black fraternal, same gender fraternal twin, because same genders are actually very rare. Like to have two fraternal twins who are both girls or both boys is actually very rare. So to have that at the center for the show is like so special for me. So this is a question for everyone, but I want to start with Jalen and Amir first, because the thing about twins is that people tend to see them as one unit, and like there's usually one that gets kind of pushed just a bit higher. Like the ambitions of one tends to overshadow the ambitions of the other one, which is the dynamic we see between Filthy and JB. Like it seems like, Filthy's ambitions in reaching the NBA, his ultimate goal, has been telegraphed onto JB, and like that's kind of been accepted by everyone, including their parents, like they don't see that JB wants to be an artist. And I want all of you to talk about that dynamic in the show and how that's actually a driving force in this narrative, because we're getting to see these two young men learning to be who they are as basketballers, who they are as sons, but also more importantly, who they are as siblings. And who they are as siblings is not who everyone sees them to be. So I want to start with Jalen and Amir talking about that twin dynamic and also the individual identity of both your characters. So we can start with Jalen and then we'll go with Amir.
So the twin dynamic that we've kind of sort of accumulated, it started a minute ago. Before the crossover, we hadn't known each other, and then after starting practice and even the audition, our first audition, that's when the bond started to really solidify and get stronger and stronger. So then that started to be second nature. And I didn't know if you knew or not, but Amir actually has a twin himself. So it was a lot of just watching how they interact with each other, and that helped a lot with it. I've actually got to, have them both as my brothers. And it took me a minute. Like back in the day, I probably couldn't tell you, but they are so different, so very different. And that's how you notice it. So the dynamic that plays on here, I feel as though, like you said, Filthy's ambitions are very strong and, very kind of direct. And JB has always been along for the ride. So I guess it's been kind of underlined to Filthy that, he's good. he's good. And that may sometimes kind of overshadow JB in the way that, oh, I know my brother's okay with it, but have you really asked him? Have you sat down on the bed and, nitpicked him about it? But I think to Filthy, because it's been that way for so long, it's normal to him. And then as you get to see when, JB, really starts to express himself in different ways, Filthy's kind of taken back by it, like, wait, but, for so long, this is how it was, and now it's changing. And he has some trouble coming to grips with that at first. But
yeah. But yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like with JB wanting to explore different things throughout his life, I don't know if it's fair to say that the parents kind of just don't pay attention to him. I don't think he's ever really expressed that to him before. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like there's even a scene with JB and Crystal where he is kind of expressing to his mom that maybe that's not all I want to do, and she's very supportive about it, and she's encouraging him to try these new things, which I feel like is very important for people to see that. But yeah, no, I'm a twin myself, except I'm an identical twin, and it's definitely like you definitely do have your moments when you feel like, I guess, overshadowed, or sometimes you feel like that you have been grouped in with your brother for so long or your sister for so long that you kind of want to explore who you are as an individual. And that's very important. I feel like every twin goes through a point in their life where they just have to go on their own little journey to find out who they are outside of their sibling. But yeah.
I was going to say, picking up on him speaking about the parents, I don't think it's so much that Crystal doesn't see it. I think she's very discerning. I think she sees that something is going on, right? And so she wants to get to the bottom of that. What is going on? What is it? Does he have another interest, or, why is he doing certain things right now? So I think she sees it, but she just can't label it, right? Until she digs a little deeper and have that talk with him. Yeah.
And for you, Derek and Kwame, like for Derek, there is the whole basketball side of things for the brothers. And for you, Kwame?
So is that
what specifically?
Yeah, what? Yeah.
Well, for Chuck, like he focuses so much on the basketball, like he's not really picking up on like what it is that JB doesn't want to do with his brother. Like he's still seeing like JB as wanting to be like an NBA star. And he's like,
is that what you see?
That's some of what I see. I don't want to spoil too much, but
you know what? Well, you know what? I'm not going to tell you what to see though. But I am going to say this, just in my little practice of the game, there is so many parallels to life. And just like in my life, my drive is to give my sons my attention. My drive is to make sure it's okay to cry when it's time to cry. But when I think I have contributed the most, my wife comes and just puts the cherry on top. And I think that's what it means to be in a full family. And I see Chuck as delivering what he knows to do. And what he knows to do is not necessarily sports, but sports is just a presentation on how to guide these boys with principle, discipline, commitment, passion, and drive. Those are the principles you need for life. However, mom's contribution, her sensitivity is undeniable, but you need both of them. Huh. No, I'm just messing. Kwame, Dr. Alexander.
Well, I mean, yeah, it all goes back to my father, Dr. Alexander. I have a memoir coming out in May. It's called Why Fathers Cry at Night. It's about everything I've learned about love that I'm trying to teach my daughters, which it turns out ain't a whole lot. But I realized in writing it that I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a tennis star. I wanted to get as far away from words as possible, Carolyn, because my father had written 16 books. He was a publisher, and he made me read the dictionary and the encyclopedia. I loathed words. And here, 38 books later, I realized that the way my father taught me, his way of teaching me how to be a man, how to love, was through loving words. That was what he gave me. And so, you know, I think JB and Filthy are probably two sides of me. You know, me wanting to do my thing and me wanting to have a father who was proud of me and trying to figure out how to mesh those two worlds together. And so this book, to go back to Reggie's first question, almost became a love letter to my pops.
So I really want to put all of you guys on the spot, but I'm not going to do that because there's people having to come after me. So I'm going to go with Derek and Kwame on this one. Sabrina, I want to ask you too, but I'm going to go with Derek and Kwame.
Stand by.
If you were to put this in prose, what this show means to you on the spot, we talking about poetry, spoken word, rap, whatever you want to, however you want to construct that, give it to me
that's definitely Kwame.
Give it to me in the capsule. But Derek likes rap, so I know that for sure.
I do like rap.
That's why I'm going to Derek.
I love rap. Listen, if Disney releases my rap one day, you'll get to see it. I wrote a whole rap for the show.
Look,
and I'm not lying. I literally did. I wrote a rap for the behind the scenes. So if they release it one day, we'll see.
If we had a camera, we went to a Kendrick Lamar concert.
Oh, listen.
And if you had seen Sabrina dancing in the aisles,
you
could see she got bars. You could tell by the way she moves. She got bars.
Yeah. I think I'm a rapper.
I want to hear, but okay. But Derek, give me something, man. Give me something. Put the show into perspective in however prose you want to do for me.
But what you don't know is Jalen got bars too, though.
Yeah,
I know. I wanted to ask you all, but I got other people want to ask.
You know what? I think at this moment you coming to the wrong dude.
Yeah, Kwame is the one.
And let me tell you, because we were on kind of like this group thing. And all of a sudden, Jalen, Amir, Kwame, to me, they spoke something which was the spirit of the show. And that moment is still hanging. So I feel like I'm going to do what a coach does. He helps navigate. He helps shift where the ball should go. And being that you threw the ball to me, I'm going to cross it over to Jalen, Amir, and Kwame.
You can just hear the way Derek talks, Reggie. It's just the lilt in his voice. It's so poetic. It's so thoughtful. Like I like to say that Sabrina, the mom, is the brains of the show. Jalen and Amir, the boys, you know, they are the heart of the show. And Derek, as you can see, he's the soul of the show. And so when I think about what is that, what are those words, that poetic image that captures what we're trying to do here? It's 4 words: dribble, fake, shoot, miss. Dribble, fake, shoot, miss. Dribble, fake, shoot, miss. Dribble, fake, shoot, swish.
Wow.
That was perfect.
Well, give me something, Jalen. The ball is passed to you, man. The coach passed it to you, dude.
Wow, it's crazy. Nah, the talent of this guy, man. To be honest, man, I have had a really good time in learning my poetry here. But if there's an even better poet than me, it's gonna be Amir. So there's your assist. There's your assist, buddy.
Scared.
Why y'all all dodging? Why y'all dodging the mission?
Why are they scared?
Hey, you know what? We're not dodging. We're placing the moment in your hands, just like what happens in life.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, let me hear some. Let me hear some.
If I had to do a spoken word of what the crossover would be about, I would say family. I ain't done this in a minute. I'm a little
rusty, little rusty.
So give me a little bit,
It's all good. It's all good.
We started in June.
Right.
July, then August.
Okay.
We had the ball and the script in our hands. We threw it up and tossed it. The spirit of the show, we never lost it.
Mm-hmm.
The way we portrayed our characters, we bossed it.
Oh,
all right.
I'm going to take that. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you.
KB, again, my question is actually for Jalen and Amir. Talk about what life lessons that you took away from filming this series and this project, and maybe, kind of what parts of Filthy and JB that you will carry with you into the next project or just through your life. And I'll start with you, Jalen.
Yeah, there are so many things you can learn from a project like this. Like a coming of age story. That's what it is, right? I mean, in life, you can't be mad if your friend's talking to a girl because, honestly, it's not his, right? Honestly, in a world filled with kids who growing up every day, it's just like messing up on one thing and then having to make it up. So honestly, I feel as though this is a coming of age story for all of us, right? We're messing up, we're falling down, but we're getting back up together and stronger and more enlightened. And that's one of the things that I'll take away from this, is how it's okay. And I heard Amir say this earlier. It's okay for change. Change is not a bad thing. Change can only breed more beautiful situations. Change can only breed more opportunities for you to be great in different ways that you didn't even know you could see. And that's one thing I am now comfortable with is change. So yeah.
I feel like we heard so many words of wisdom from Derek, Sabrina, Kwame, Damani. But one thing that I would take away for me is something that Derek told me on the pilot, just to always trust your instincts when you're portraying a character. And I'm just talking in regards to acting. And just, like I said, to trust your gut. Like if you know your character better than anybody, you studied your character, you perfected it, you got inside the mindset of your character, and you know how he would or she would react, or how you would move, or how you would close off in this certain situation. So just trust your instincts. It's always good to take notes, obviously, but just remember that don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't feel like my character would do this, or I feel like my character will react differently in this situation. And that's something I love about the crossover, which I pray that carries over in the rest of my other projects, is that they allow so much room for discourse and creativity. If we felt like we wanted to do something a little bit different, or we wanted to change something, they always came in at it with open ears. Which I love so much, and I appreciate them so much for that, because I've never really had that on any project I've ever worked on, especially me being young. You kind of place on the back burner a lot of times, and you just kind of roll with it, or you don't ever really speak your mind. But on this project from the crossover, they always encourage us to speak our mind. And I remember on the pilot, Kwame and Damani would sit me and Jalen down and just walk us through the script and ask us what we were comfortable with, or what we would change about. And I appreciated that so much. So yeah, thank you, Kwame, for that. And yeah, thank you, Derek, Sabrina, Kwame, Damani. You're not here, but thank you guys for your words of wisdom.
Hi, Carolyn again. So this question is for Amir, Kwame, and Sabrina. So I mentioned that I'm a twin, so that's one of the ways that I relate to the show. Another way that I relate to the show is that I'm dyslexic. So when it was revealed that JB has ADHD and he's neurodivergent and he's also struggling in school, that's another way that I related to the character, because I struggled in school and I still struggle being dyslexic and having cognitive impairment. And so we always talk about representation, but for me, when it comes to representation, I always look beyond just having Black people represented on screen. I always look for like the specific ways that we can be represented on screen, which is another way showing neurodivergent characters. And for JB, for Amir, I want you to talk about portraying this aspect of JB, because this is a personal struggle. This is something that his brother can't relate to, that his father can't relate to, his mom or his friends can't relate to. And for Sabrina, I want you to talk about how, as your character relates to JB as a mother, but also as a principal, because she has to separate how she speaks to him as a mother with regards to when he's struggling, and how she speaks to him as a principal when he's acting out in class and he's not being able to like communicate the way that other students are communicating. So we need to talk about that. And for Kwame, we need to have to speak about the importance of having these aspects of the character JB represented on screen, because this is, again, we don't get to see many neurodivergent Black characters, especially young Black people represented on screen. So we begin with JB.
Huh?
We begin with you, Amir.
All right. Yeah, I was just gonna say that me personally, I don't have ADHD, but I have friends who do, and just kind of nitpicking their brains and also doing research into people with ADHD, looking at how they react to certain situations, how they feel when they're overwhelmed, or just, you know, just kind of reading articles and all these different things written by people who go through that, is something I wanted to portray accurately, since I don't have it myself. I didn't want to portray it in a way where they would feel how would I say, like that it just wasn't represented properly. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to make sure that I portrayed that, just doing little things like, you know, shaking my leg or shifting my eyes and things like that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's very important, because ADHD is something that a lot of people suffer with, especially, you know, in our Black community. So I wanted to make sure that I did that justice.
I think Crystal definitely brings a balance there. She, again, well, obviously she knows that he has it, but there's a moment in the series where she doesn't realize what's going on, what's happening. Once she does, she becomes mom again. You know, she becomes mom and not the principal at that point. So I think it's about balance, a delicate balance when dealing with a situation like that. Yeah, dealing with his ailment that he has, you
know. I really appreciate the question, Carolyn. You know, Muhammad Ali had dyslexia. He got D's and almost flunked out of high school his senior year, right before he won the Olympics in that summer. His teachers wanted to fail him, and the principal was like, "We're not failing the next heavyweight champion of the world." Nobody knew he had dyslexia. They ain't diagnosed it. Half the people in my neighborhood, half my friends had ADHD. Half the people in my house probably had it. Like, we weren't diagnosed with it, you know? And so I think, to the degree that we want to showcase the full humanity of Black people, like, we want to show us in our everythingness. We want to show all of the parts of us, and be true to how we represent our community. And so, whether that be dyslexia, whether that be ADHD, other mental health issues, health issues, things we talked about in the beginning, the secrets, really shining a light so that we can then begin to transform ourselves. We can begin to transform our community. We can begin to get the help that Sabrina talked about earlier. That's like so important. It ain't nothing wrong with who we are. You know, we just want to acknowledge and recognize who we are so we can be our full selves.
Great, thank you so much. That's the thing. The visibility of these disabilities and the things we struggle with. That's the most important thing for me. And showing that it's nothing wrong with being dyslexic or ADHD, you know, like
That's right.
don't keep them a secret. Yeah.
That's right.
Hello, Dana Abercrombie again. My question is for anyone in the cast who really wants to answer this, also for you, Kwame, as well. The show is based on a lot of misconceptions that the cast, that the characters have about each other, because there are things that are being hidden, there are truths that are not really being revealed, people are not really stepping into their truths. So when you came to kind of the character breakdown, I wanted to know, how do you as actors portray that character in terms of, we always have something to hide, as opposed to differently when everything is actually revealed?
I mean, the first thought to come to my mind is my own life. You know, like nobody's perfect. You know, a scenario was when I got married, you know, the main relationship I was in was the relationship with my mother. And me and my mom would dialogue all the time. And so there was like this heartbreak of communication, because I would share with her everything. And I would, and so now, even though, I was loving this woman, my wife, me and my mom had this robust, kind of healthy relationship. And I had to learn how, for me, to convert some of that into my relationship with my wife. And so, there's levels and places that I believe we hit in the first season. But that's what comes to my heart. I think like characters, like real life people, like Kwame said, humanity, that, it's hitting on all layers of humanity. And I think all of us may have at some time, and still are, have some secrets that are yet to be shared. That's just for me. Anybody else?
I feel like it's one of those things where you have to take from your own life, and things that you might not want to share with the world, and how you want to internalize that, and you put that into your character. So, yeah, I mean, it's something that you would have to take from your own, or at least for me, something that I take from my own personal life, and I just put that into JB.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like to say that he's definitely right about that, Derek and Amir, and I feel like more so with teenagers now, simply all of us suffering from self-justification. That being, some things are withheld, or views are, obscured because of how you feel about a certain subject. There are two sides to it. So I feel like that's how you kind of connect to how, they're feeling in the situation.
Yeah, I think, to sum it up, Dana, and to bring it full circle to what Derek so wonderfully shared earlier, I've always found it challenging to share my truth, like with family, with friends. And I think part of writing this book was me trying to trigger that transformation in myself. It was the beginning of that journey. My therapist has often said, Kwame, people will survive your truth. Mm-hmm. And I think each of these characters in this story are trying to figure out that. They're trying to figure out how to share their truth with the other people who matter on their team. And ultimately, I think when it comes to this show, we also are hopefully going to see, Dana, that people will enjoy our truth, that they will be entertained by it, that they will be engaged with it, and ultimately they will be inspired by it.
Mm. Yeah, because I was going to say, I don't believe that they're not living in their truths. I think the characters are living in their truths, but it's sharing that truth, being vulnerable enough to share the secret or the truth with someone, and how are they navigating their truth. But I believe they're living through it. what comes with living, and your truth also comes with learning, like there's always a growth period. There's always a period of like, what is this? What's happening when there's evolution or change happening, right? But just because everyone doesn't know it, or just because they're working through something, doesn't mean they're not living in it, like living in the truth. So I do believe they're living in it. It's just, how do they share that,
Well, Amir, Kwame, Sabrina, Jalen, and of course you, Mr. Derek Luke, we thank you today for your time. We love this show, and we certainly plan to continue to support it. On behalf of the world's largest group of Black film and TV critics, thank you for watching this edition of AAFCA Roundtables. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you so
all.
much.
Thank you.